Saraswati Vidyalaya Union High School and Junior College welcomes all the students of Standard 8. I, Mrs. Manisha Chaudhary, is here to present you History, Chapter 11, Struggle for Equality. In this chapter, we are going to study about the various movements and how they helped for enhancing the struggle for equality. Let us begin, students. Struggle for equality. In the progress of modern India, struggle for political freedom was important. This struggle was based on broad philosophy of man's emancipation. Therefore, in the course of this struggle, along with political dependence, there was opposition to things like feudalism, social inequality, economic exploitation. Like freedom, the principle of equality is very important. From that point of view, the contribution of movements built up by various social groups such as farmers, workers, women, Dalits, etc., as well as the stream of socialism giving importance to equality proves to be significant. Now, students, whenever the course of the struggle with political dependence is there, then it opposes to things like feudalism. Feudalism means earlier times there were nobles who held lands from the people, and later on this feudalism was curbed. Then inequality, economic exploitation. Like freedom, the principles of equality is very important. So the principle of equality is very important in all these aspects. From this point of view, we are going to study the various movements such as the farmers movement, then the workers movement, women, how did they also participate, their movements, then the Dalits movement, and how it contributed in the struggle for equality. All this proves to be significant. Without realizing its contribution, we will not be able to understand the developmental process of modern India. Therefore, let us study some of these movements. So, it is necessary for us to study these movements, then only we can understand the developmental process which took place in modern India. Now, let's begin first with peasant movement. The Indian farmers had to suffer due to the ill effects of British economic policy. The British government used to protect the landlords and moneylenders. They gave unjust treatment to the farmers. On many occasions, the farmers rose against this injustice. The peasants in Bengal formed their union and revolted against the compulsion of cultivating indigo. Now, first of all, the peasant movement. Now, as you know that India is an agricultural country, and most of the production and the benefit, it comes from agriculture. Now, when the British were ruling India, we are talking about that period when the British were ruling India, that time, because of the ill effects of British economic policy, this peasant class or the farmers class suffered a lot. Now, what did the British do? They used to protect the landlords and moneylenders because they used to get a lot of money from them. Okay? Now they gave unjust treatment to the farmers. The British and these moneylenders and the landlords, they gave unjust treatment to the farmers. Many times these farmers, they revolted against this injustice. They rose against this. But they were again subdued. Now the peasants in Bengal, what did they form? They formed their union and they revolted against the compulsion which was done to them for cultivating indigo. Now what did the British do? They required raw materials, and whichever raw materials they required, they forced the Indian farmers to cultivate only that in their fields. So there was discontent amongst the farmers. They revolted against this. Let us continue further. Without realizing, okay, this is over. Let's continue further, children. The play Neel Darpan, written by Dinbandhu Mitra, brought to the notice of the society the wretched conditions of the peasants producing indigo. So, whatever the play Neel Darpan, what did it do? Okay, it brought in front of the common people the wretched means miserable condition of the farmers producing indigo, how they were forced to produce that indigo. In 1875, farmers from Maharashtra rose in revolt against the atrocities of the landlords and moneylenders. Now, even in Maharashtra, in 1875, the farmers, they revolted against whom? Against all the inhuman things done to them by the landlords and the moneylenders. The farmers in Uttar Pradesh formed Kisan Sabha in 1918 under the leadership of Baba Ramchandra. So even the farmers in Uttar Pradesh, they formed Kisan Sabha in 1918 under the leadership of Baba Ramchandra. The Mopla peasants rose in a great revolt in Kerala. So even in Kerala, there the farmers rose in revolt against the British, but the British government crushed it down. So all these revolts were crushed down by the Britishers. In 1936, with the initiative of Professor N.G. Ranga, you can see in the picture, he is Professor N.G. Ranga, Akhil Bharatiya Kisan Sabha was established. A simple person, a farmer, Swami Sarjanand Saraswati was the president of this organization. So Akhil Bharatiya Kisan Sabha, Swami Sarjananda was the president. This Sabha presented a declaration of peasants' rights to the Indian National Congress. So what did this Sabha do? They presented one declaration of peasants' rights, that peasants should be given the rights, okay, to the Indian National Congress. That time Indian National Congress was there. They were also fighting for the freedom struggle of India. So these farmers, they presented one declaration, all the written points that these things should be given to the farmers. The session of the Congress was held in the rural part of Faizpur in Maharashtra. So this session, this meeting was held in the rural part of Faizpur. Thousands of peasants attended this session. So many peasants attended this session which was held in Faizpur. Now, in 1938, the crops in eastern Khandesh were destroyed due to heavy rains. Now, students, many times there are floods, there are rains, then there is drought. So, in 1938, one incident happened. There was heavy rain and the crops were destroyed in the eastern part of Khandesh. The condition of the farmers was miserable, means very bad. In order to get the land revenue waived, Sani Guruji organized meetings and processions at many places. But in spite of such a bad condition of the farmers, that heavy rains, their crops got washed away, the Britishers, they put taxes on these farmers, which the farmers were not able to pay. So it was Sani Guruji who organized meetings and processions at many places so that the land revenue be waived. Waived means the land revenue be cut off or it should be removed. Okay, it should not be taken from them. He took out marches on the collector office. The peasants participated in large numbers in the revolutions in the revolutionary period of 1942. So whatever the revolutionary movement was there of 1942, the peasants, they participated in all these movements in large numbers. Let's see further. Now, you should know this, that Sani Guruji built up unity of the workers. He was the person who brought unity amongst the workers. He tried to create strong center of workers union at Dhule, Amalner. He was the president of Mill Workers Union of Amalner. So even the mill workers are there, no? that mill workers together, he tried to create their union, okay, and he was the president of that. He went on fast unto death to open the doors of Vitthal temple at Pandharpur for the Dalits. So even he fought for the untouchables. He wanted the untouchables also to take darshan, to be allowed in the temples, and especially at the Vitthal temple at Pandharpur. So he also went on fast unto death. So this is the extra knowledge or the general knowledge which you should know about Sane Guruji. Now the next, the workers' union. In the later half of the 19th century, textile mills, railway companies and such industries were started in India. The workers' group had not aroused on large scale, but in this period efforts were made to solve the problems of the workers. Sashipad Banerjee and Narayan Meghaji Lokhande organized the workers at local level. Lokhande's contribution to the working class movement was so valuable that he is described as father of Indian workers' movement. So students, in the later half, we saw that though the workers' group were not organized, but still efforts were made to solve their problems. Thank you.